Good morning from Los Angeles. It's time for Power Hour. Welcome to Power Hour every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern for the foreseeable future. We're going to take care of a little bit of business. We have about 6 topics to talk about. Interesting day today. Welcome to Option Expiration Friday as well. So it is definitely action-packed, as the title of today's live stream indicates. Are we looking for all-time highs? Market's taken off again today, right? It took off after the CPI report and then had a little bit of a correction yesterday, and then we're right back on it again today. The important thing is, to me, not the direction of the market, but I put out my predictions for Bitcoin and indexes last I think right before the year was out, and you guys can go check those videos out. So as far as the channel is concerned, um I super appreciate the support. I really do. We're about to hit 1,800 subs in about 5 months, which is amazing, really. For all of you who are new here from another channel, please just be patient. I will answer every comment and question at the end, depending on what they are, obviously. And I will share my position screen with you all, and then I'll go through my watch list, the usual, and Q&A. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. I will get to them, no worries. A couple of things to take care of business. So I do 2 live streams. Actually, I do 3 live streams. I do 3 live streams a week for this channel. Every Monday, it's Trading with Sergio, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Every Friday, it's Power Hour, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you happen to choose to support the channel and become a member of the channel, all you have to do is click the join button, and then you get a bunch of perks. So let's go through those. If you do become a member of the channel, number 1, you will get an extra live stream every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's a lot more hands-on. That's a lot more intimate, but also a great exchange of idea opportunities between the members and myself. That's a live stream, but for members only. So the only way you're going to be able to get notification for that is to become a member. 1. Number 2 perk for that is, if you do choose to be a member and support the channel that way, besides being a subscriber, please turn on all notifications in order for you to get, because sometimes I do change the clock or change the hours of the live stream from 3 p.m. to maybe 12:30 p.m. or 2 p.m. That's because my son's soccer schedule, that takes priority. But I have not failed you all yet. I have not canceled any. So as a member, you will get 4 members only live streams every Wednesday. That's the second perk. The third perk is, if you do choose to become a member and would like to get one, which I'm pretty sure so far every member probably has gotten one, what we do is we call our community, member community, Know Your Worth, hashtag Know Your Worth, okay? As you guys can see, I'm wearing the t-shirt. Every member gets one of these t-shirts free of charge. It's a $30 item. It's supplied by Gig With It, which is my merchandise supplier, including shipping, by the way, totally cost-free, and it's a $30 value. And I'm hoping that you stick around for a couple, 3 months so that I get my cost out of it. But I'm happy to do it. So all you have to do is send me an email to sergio@sergioavadian.com, and I will mail it to you free of charge within a week at most. We're manufacturing it in the US. It's very high quality merchandise, and you'll get it for free. And the third perk is, which we just started doing actually, you will have direct access to me through a Telegram chat group. We call it our Know Your Worth group. And so what I'll do there is I will post my trades live right now. This is not trading advice. This is not financial advice. What I do is very high risk. Although my results speak for themselves. If you can go check the last year-end result video, I was up about 120%, 119 point some change. on equity without any additions. But just please go check that video out. You guys will see. So you will have direct access to me, meaning it's a chat group, right? We chose to do Telegram. The members chose to do so. I set one up. I think 15 or 16 members are already in it. But you have to be a member in order to be part of that chat group. So you will get my trades with very limited lag, basically no lag. And if you choose to tag along, trade at your own risk. I will put the trades up when I'm doing them, and I will when I'm buying something and when I'm selling something. You follow. Do you have an account size that can follow everything I'm doing? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So if you do end up picking a trade that is a loser, and trust me, there are losers. Whoever says there are no losers, run the other direction. It's all up to you. But so those are the 3-4 things you get as a member of the channel, right? You get the 4 live streams, you get direct access to me through the chat group, and you will get a free t-shirt out of it at least. And you can wear it. It's hashtag know your worth. In this life, we got to know our worth in everything that we do. So what else? That's about it. So, I appreciate the support, by the way. Please put a thumbs up, number 1. Number 2, word of mouth helps a lot. So if you do enjoy the live streams and what kind of content I'm putting out, please refer the channel to your friends. I was on Wall Street for 32 years, and I think I have a lot to share. And I'm not doing this for YouTube dollars, obviously. I love paying it forward. I love effective altruism, and if I can help you along the way to achieve your financial goals a little bit faster with proper education and proper information, I'm here for you. What else? That's about it. Yeah. So today's option expiration. Oh, one last thing. If you are not a member, you still will get my positions. I'm dealing here with full transparency. Losers, winners, losers, doesn't matter. To me, the most important thing is if I had $1 at the start of the month and I have $1.10 at the end of the month, my account's up 10%. What individual positions do are not going to make or break me, because I do risk manage quite well. So I will post my positions latest by 2 p.m. Pacific on the community channel. Community page of the channel. It's easy to find. You just go to the YouTube channel. It's towards the middle. There's a band of tabs. It'll say live and video and shorts and whatever. If you scroll to the left, the last one says community. And you guys can go check out the past posts I have done. So for non-members who are subscribers, you can go check my positions out. Again, it's not trading or financial advice. You tag along at your own risk. So yeah, that's it. With that said, let's get into it. So there's one subject that I've been talking about since the inception of the channel, which is our deficits and which is our national debt. That's going up by what? Every 100 days, it's going up $1 trillion, right? So national debt and deficits are absolutely breaking records in fiscal 2025. Now, the government's fiscal year is not a calendar year. It didn't start in January. It started about 3 months ago. We are breaking records. Why is that? Well, it's because we enjoy printing money and spending money we don't have as a government. So if I did that in my own household, since I don't have a printing machine like they do, by the way, they don't even print anymore because it's too expensive to print currency, supposedly. What they do is the Fed just adds zeros to the ledger. So this is all related to having a broken fiscal policy in this country. And fiscal policy is obviously by the our elected officials in Washington, D.C., be it senators and House of Representatives. The fiscal policy has been broken for a long, long time. And if you're taking in, as income for your treasury, to your treasury, $1 and you're spending $2, you have deficits. Well, you have to pay for those bills. How do they do that? Well, then they go to the Fed, and Fed issues bonds, and credit issues these IOUs that the whole world buys, pension plans buy. In fact, I'm pretty sure if you have a pension plan with a company, you are owning some of the US IOUs, or the bonds, or the notes, or the treasury bills. Like Warren Buffett has about $300 billion dollars worth of treasury bills. He's parking his money there at 4%. But the deficits and the national debt keeps growing. We're at $36.3 trillion. It's going up about $2.5 trillion a year. And you all may say, where is this money going? What's happening here, right? You guys need to start questioning this, because it's affecting every single one of you. How? Debasing of the US dollar. Printing that many dollars and putting it into M2, which is the money supply, creates inflation. Inflation's simple explanation is too many dollars chasing too few goods. And that's what's happening. Right? And we did that during the pandemic. Obviously, the government had to do it. And they printed $7 trillion and pumped it into the economy. That money was never taken out of the economy. And that's why we got inflation bug in our system. Then the Fed raised from, interest rates from a ZIRP policy to a tightening policy, which I call QT, quantitative tightening. What happened? Rates went up from 0 to 5. Mortgages went up from 3.5% to 7.5%. But the stock market is not paying any attention to it. Well, there are reasons for that. The reasons for that is during inflationary periods, the only way you can protect yourself is through hard assets. But I have done videos about that. You guys can go check that out. And but the important thing is this. So where is this money going? How much money is coming in? Where is the money going? Right? And if you guys take a look at this ridiculous chart. By the way, on Twitter, my handle for Twitter and LinkedIn are in the show notes. You can go follow me if you choose to do so. And I do follow the Coinbase letter, which I love. I think they put out amazing information. So this is from them. The U.S. budget deficit hit a massive $711 billion for the first 3 months of fiscal year 2025. This is 200 billion, or 39% higher than in the same period last year. So I guess we're just not learning. We're going to continue with a broken fiscal policy, and the Fed's hands are tight. They just continue with just printing more and making up those deficits. The deficit reached 2 trillion for the full calendar year 2024, up 248 billion year over year. Also, here's the key word: deficit spending. Doge to the rescue, please. Deficit spending rose from 6.4% to 6.9% of GDP. FYI, our debt to GDP is running about 133% at the moment. Our GDP, total GDP is 27 trillion. Our debt is 36.2 trillion. That's 133% of GDP. What happens if the economy slows down? Right? I mean, I'm not even saying recession. What happens if our GDP shrinks a little bit, right? Because all the dollars they're printing and trying to pump the GDP, the ROI is horrible on that. In the old days, we used to get 4-to-1 ROI. Today, we're getting like 47 cents for each dollar we borrow. Doesn't make sense. But I just wanted to know, and I just, on the right-hand screenshot where my arrow is at, you guys see that? Okay. Where the 711 billion with a B deficits are coming from. Where are they coming from? All right, so the left side, the green part of the chart, and there is a blue chart part of the chart on the right side, which looks like a bunch of fingers going out, right? Okay, so far for the first 3 months of the fiscal year 2025, the total receipts going into the treasury were 1.083 trillion, okay? The total outlays were 1.794 trillion. So that's where the 711 billion in deficits is coming from, which the Federal Reserve happily issuing more bonds to make up for those deficits. But I just wanted you guys to understand that where the money is coming in from and where it's going out to. Individual income taxes, social insurance, and retirement. corporate income taxes, excise taxes. So the biggest part is individual income taxes, as you guys can see up top, right? Well, on the right side is where the outlays are, okay? Outlays, top outlay is Social Security at 374 billion. Second one is national defense, 262 billion. We spent 262 billion in 3 months of the fiscal year on defense. Not sure why. Number three is obviously health insurance for the Social Security and Medicare we're talking about here. Now, here's the key. Take a look at what number 4 is. Number 4 is creeping up every single time I look at this chart. It's going higher. Number 4 is the net interest on the $36.2 trillion that we're spending or we're paying to the IOU holders, to the bondholders around the world. Okay. Net interest, 242 billion. We are almost taking over national defense. Now, why is this net interest going where it's going? Why? Well, we have $36 trillion, which we had 15 years of ZIRP meaning zero interest rate policy in this country after the great financial crisis. So all those bonds are maturing now, and the Fed has to replace those bonds because the deficit and the debt keeps going higher. And consequently, when the Fed raised the rates from 0 to 5%, we have to pay higher rates on all the money that we owe, right? So that's why the net interest cost is going up. Last year, we were at $1.2 trillion that we had to pay interest on our debt. It's like you having a credit card and paying 40% interest rates, right? So when is this silliness going to stop? I don't know. So the new administration is coming in on the 20th, the inauguration, and supposedly, and Vivek and Elon are the head of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. We're going to find out. We're going to find out what they're going to be able to do. But this is out of control. This needs to stop. And, you all may say, well, we're doing fine. The market's doing fine. Everything else is doing fine. Bitcoin's doing fine. I'm doing fine. I'm like, okay, cool. But if you're lucky enough to understand that hard assets are the only salvation for this broken fiscal policy and broken monetary policy, then you're fine. I'm fine. I'm not going to complain, but that's why I created this channel, just to let you all know what's going on in the macro picture as well. Because just day trading, zero DTs and things like that, or whatever you're doing, is not going to save your butt. So I was talking about Doge and Elon and Vivek, right? And what are they going to do? Where are they going to cut? They have, first of all, the debt is never going to get paid back. I have decided on that. But what I'm hoping for with Doge is that they at least slow down this $2.5 trillion of debt that we're adding on stacking it up, right? At least slow that part down, because the interest cost is 1.2 trillion. Can't we take that 1.2 trillion, use it for some good in this country? Of course we can. And that's the other reason Fed is lowering the rates now, right? They're on a QE bender, quantitative easing, because they're the largest payer of interest, right? I mean, we want rates to go down, of course, because our mortgages will go down, car loans will go down, consumer will, we're supposed to benefit from it. But the biggest beneficiary of lower interest rates is the U.S. government, because their debt is out of control, right? Their interest payments are out of control. But Doge is supposed to fix this. Okay, well, we're going to find out. Talk is cheap, we're going to find out if they're going to be able to, get Washington off this horrible habit of borrowing and spending, because it just cannot, just can't be sustained. And we're going to pay the price for it. If I'm not paying the price for it, my kids are going to pay the price for it. Your kids are going to pay the price for it. So, I think I have a good idea for Doge. Actually, I probably would volunteer for Doge. Doge, I think, needs to start with what? Who's the largest employer in the country, you guys think? I mean, Walmart's pretty large. I think they have like 400,000 employees. Costco's pretty, all these companies, they have brick and mortars. They're pretty large employers. But who do you guys think the largest employer in the country is? It's the government, and they keep hiring. According to the latest data, What is happening in the U.S. government jobs data? Well, U.S. government jobs hit a record 23.5 million people in November, rising for the 43rd consecutive month. Doge to the rescue. Do we need 23.5 million people to run this country? No. Government jobs have risen by 2 million people over the last 4.5 years, while we can hardly go find a job for ourselves, right, as the average American. In previous economic cycles, such a rapid increase in government jobs has usually occurred before recessions. Okay. So meanwhile, full-time private sector jobs dropped by 1.8 million. So whoever's getting fired by the private sector is getting hired by the government. And why is government employment growing so fast? Well, I don't know. It's a great question. And look at that chart that I put the oval on the right-hand side. Look where we are. And this goes back to 1985 or 1980, actually. This is 1980 on the left side. And U.S. Government job growth, 18-month moving average. Look at that, right? Every time we get up to about 1.8 to 2 million, what happens is that the gray areas that are highlighted are recessions, right? And now, is this an indicator to follow? Probably not. But the topic of conversation is here: why does the government need 23.5 million people to run this country? We only have 360 million people in this country. That's the counted part. Well, if you look at the oval on the right-hand side, look where we're hitting, right? We're hitting all-time highs. Well, that's where the spending money is going, by the way. So if you do hire all these people, you have to pay these people. And that's part of the money that is going. And supposedly, Doge is going to pay close attention to this and close some parts of the government, right? Because I certainly don't think we need 23.5 million people to run the country. I'm not saying we don't need the government. Don't get me wrong. Government has its place, okay? There are people who are much less fortunate than I am in this country who need government services. Retirees need government services. Well, I'm going to be retired in like 7-8 years. I'm hoping there is some money left for me to take out because I sure paid my dues into the system, right? But when the government's on a hiring bender, we need to take a close look at that. And I don't want anybody to lose their job. But if you're just sitting and watching YouTube at your government job all day long, hopefully you're watching me. But I think we have a lot of fat in the government that we can deal with and cut. And if those people are going to be placed in different departments or retrained to do something else, because it's necessary. I mean, I don't think we need that many people in the government to operate this country. This third topic I'm going to talk about a little bit in a few minutes is, so bear with me. I see the chat going. I will answer every comment and every question, whatever they are. By the way, I'm an East Coaster, so the way I do it is, you get what you see. It's just, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I have my opinions. You may agree, you may disagree with me on a lot of things, which is great, but that's why we have civil conversations, civil debates. So to me, this government spending and printing and spending has to end, and we need to get this under control. And if we do that, we can do that many different ways, right? We can do it by increasing productivity and increasing the GDP. How do we do that? Well, the new administration is saying deregulation is going to do that. We'll see. Look, talk is cheap. They're going to take over on the 20th, but I believe the first 100 days of the incoming Trump administration is going to be probably one of the most important first 100 days of any government in my lifetime in this country over the last 35, 38 years. So I hope they do some good, because I believe change is necessary at this point. I think we let this get completely out of control. We need to rein this back in a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot actually, but then we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So anybody know who Warren Buffett is? No, actually, I asked the wrong question. Does anybody not know who Warren Buffett is? He's the guru, right? He's the, he's the man. I have respect. I have nothing but respect for Warren Buffett, not because he's old, but because what he has done with Berkshire Hathaway, right? His buy and hold strategy has worked. Well, if Warren Buffett were to start today, would he do as well? Probably not, for the fact that he's selling pretty much whatever he's got. He's selling B of A, he's selling Apple constantly, and he has raised his cash hoard to $300 billion with a B. And it's all in T-bills, and he's waiting for what? He's waiting, what is his famous saying, right? Buy stocks when there's blood on the streets. Well, he did that perfectly well in 2008. He has done that multiple times in his lifetime, right? He has done that during the pandemic as well. He raises cash. He's a value investor, and then when the poop hits the fan, basically, all he does is he deploys that 300 billion cash into equities that he thinks are going to have an amazing return over long periods of time. But Warren Buffett also has an indicator out. He has a very famous indicator out, and that indicator is flashing bright blood red. Actually, it's been flashing red. Now it's bright blood red. Okay. And here's the indicator. Another thing, I talked about this quite a few times, is that, at the moment, I see nothing but the generals leading this war, right? When I say war, the generals in the S&P 500, which is everybody's benchmark that they follow. And the largest 50 stocks market capitalization to GDP ratio is at a record 110%. Okay. And that's the Warren Buffett indicator. So as you guys can see on the chart on the right-hand side, 50% of the entire stock market's value is involved here. Okay. So this chart goes back to 1989. On the left scale is total market cap to GDP. And look where we are, as we circled with an oval. So in 2000, right before the dot-com bubble crash, whatever you guys want to call it, we had hit 74% of GDP. Over the next decade, that index, which is NASDAQ, was minus 17%. And we just actually, a year ago, we just made an all-time high because NASDAQ had gotten to 5,000, right? And if you guys look at that chart, at the moment, in 2021, okay, so what happened when we hit 74% of GDP? We had a massive, massive drawdown for a decade. Market was just kind of, meandering. But then what happened? Then we came strong, right? We came back. That's when he put his cash into it in 2008, where was the bottom, GFC crisis, right? And then all the way to 2021, where, we had to deal with COVID as well. But at that time, we got up to 97% of GDP. Then we had the massive drawdown again. And then at the moment now, we built it back up to 110% of GDP. Now, is this an indicator that you should watch and just trade stocks with? No. But what you should do is that you should definitely pay attention to it. And the other problem that I'm seeing, because I've been watching the advanced decline line all my life, all 35 years that I've been doing this, you need to pay attention to that. It's public information. You can go Google advanced decline line, and you'll see out of the S&P 500 how many stocks are advancing and how many stocks are declining. And at the moment, all I'm seeing is the reason the indexes keep making new highs because the triple Qs and the S&P 500, the top 50 stocks, and in NASDAQ is probably top 20 stocks. Those are the Mag 7 and some other ones. Those are the generals, right? So we're going to war. We have an army of soldiers and we have generals. Well, generals are supposed to stay back. Those are the ones that run the show. Well, what's happening now is that the generals are on the attack. They're in the front lines. Look what happened to Apple yesterday. Okay, down $9 out of the blue. That's a general. It got shot. Okay, and today it's having a little anemic bounce. What I'm trying to say is that, rising tide did not raise all boats, and the advanced decline line is actually kind of negative if you guys do look at it over the last 2-3 weeks. And that's why we're having a little struggle up here after we made all-time highs. And the generals, if the generals start getting shot, watch out, because the soldiers are dead already. And so the concentration of 50 stocks pushing an index up is really, really not what you want. You want all stocks participating. You want mid caps, small caps, large caps, and mega caps participating in a rally. When a rally is just construed by the top 50 stocks in a 500 stock index, which is the S&P 500, watch out, be careful. I'm not telling you to trade with it. All I'm telling you is just watch these warning signs, put a picture together, pull back a little bit, and look at some other information other than your option chain and your weekly options and how you can make a fortune or lose a fortune with those. Because these cycles, when these cycles turn, they turn for quite a while. It's not a week or two or three, it's years. Okay, so pay attention to these small things. Why is the stock market at an all-time high? Why is real estate at an all-time high? Residential specifically. Why is Bitcoin at an all-time high or very close to it? Why is gold at an all-time high? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. I talked on a few minutes ago about the printing, right? So when the money is printed or zeros are added to the ledger, Federal Reserve ledger, that money is getting pushed out. How does that get pushed out? It's in by the way, every global, well, let's not say global, but every Federal Reserve of each country, right? They can do that. But we are the only ones that we can make money out of thin air. Most countries, and EU specifically, China and Japan, they can't do that. They don't have that. They're not able to print money and spend. So with that said, but they can pump money into their economies many different ways. They can buy bonds back and then issue, they can do repos, overnight repos, short-term pumping, long-term. But overall, we have liquidity in this globe. Liquidity in the globe has exploded, meaning money has been created out of thin air for years now, actually since 2008. Okay, so this is our 16th year or 17th year of creation of money out of thin air, and we just pump it into the economy, and we call it global money supply, global liquidity. In this country, we call it M2. M2 is how much money is being pumped into the economy. Okay, this is a fact. Go check it. It's public info as well. So global M2 has a lot to do with what's happening with all those hard assets, with the stock market being at an all-time high, with the Bitcoin being at an all-time high, gold being at an all-time high, real estate being at an all-time high. And there is a very, very specific correlation between the global liquidity or global M2 and what happens to these asset classes that I'm talking about, okay? And this is something that I've been paying attention to for a long time. And I came up with this correlation that's uncanny. Okay, so on the left hand chart, this is from my Bloomberg. So in this goes back about 2019, 2018. So that's when the white line, by the way, is global liquidity. Okay. And the yellow chart or yellow line is S&P 500. Do you guys see how correlated those two are? And S&P 500, by the way, lags the global liquidity by about a month. Okay, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin in a minute. So when global liquidity exploded, and that happened, by the way, with debt, right? We're issuing a lot of debt and pumping money into our systems. Look how correlated these two are. So when the Fed started raising rates and going to quantitative tightening and reduce the balance sheet, global liquidity, which we are massive part of global liquidity, but this includes all the countries. When I say global liquidity, all the industrialized countries, the Chinas, the Japans, the EU as well. When global liquidity starts shrinking, watch out below. Look at the S&P 500. Look what happened. Every time global liquidity goes up, there is a pump into the markets. And look how correlated we are. And if you guys can notice, by the way, on the upper right hand corner, global liquidity peaked about last quarter of last year, and it's getting reduced. And the market's still hanging in there to a reasonable degree. But the sell-offs that we're having that are really sharp now are all due to global liquidity being reduced. And this is another indicator that you guys need to watch. But more importantly than stocks, global liquidity, or M2 money supply, global M2, is absolutely amazingly correlated with what's happening to Bitcoins, as Bitcoin is a holder of value and maybe an anti-inflation fighter, right? This is going back to the inception of Bitcoin to 2012, right? So the blue line is global M2. Okay, it actually will match the yellow line or the white line on the left-hand chart, but let's just look at the right-hand chart for a second. Okay, so Bitcoin has so much to do with global liquidity, so correlated. Okay, and the black line on the chart, by the way, is Bitcoin's price. Okay, look what's happening to Bitcoin and global liquidity. So when global liquidity is this high, and every time it corrects, Bitcoin corrects. I mean, this is uncanny. You guys see the correlation here, right? So follow this. This is also public information, people. You know, all these nuggets that I'm sharing with you guys, these are things that I follow. And you put a picture together and you take a little bit of a long-term view of what you're doing with your Bitcoin or with your crypto or with your stocks or whatever not, or if you're DCAing into indexes. But please pay attention to these things. And that's one of the reasons I created the channel, because I'm pretty sure other than people like me and, you know, who are involved in the business, they don't pay any attention to it. So add these tools to your toolbox. Start paying attention to these things. And global liquidity, global M2, has everything to do with what Bitcoin is doing, right? Now, the one part that I'm kind of thinking about now is that, you know, Bitcoin, I think today is like 105, right? Almost making an all-time high. And what happens if Doge is successful, okay, and is able to rein in some of that frivolous spending, and global liquidity is not necessary to pump the economies? Is Bitcoin going to correct? Is this the last hurrah for Bitcoin? I don't know. Price will take precedence, obviously, but please do pay attention to the correlation between stocks and global liquidity, and Bitcoin and global liquidity. Look at gold, right? Same thing. If you look at all the hard assets making all-time highs, it's because there's so much money out there. You know, the global liquidity is pushing all these assets up because all this money has to be put to work. And where does it get to put the work? Well, some of it goes to gold, some of it goes to Bitcoin, mostly goes to stocks, US stocks specifically, because US stock market has outperformed every single stock market over the last 2 years by 2x minimum, depending on what country we're talking about. So all that money is coming here, going into stocks. So am I saying market is expensive? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that watch global liquidity. When global liquidity starts shrinking, asset classes don't do well, because that's money being taken out of the system. Well, the money has been borrowed. You know, we know what happened with the Japanese yen carry trade debacle a few months ago. I'm not saying any of these things are going to happen. I'm not bearish whatsoever. All I'm saying is that, though, pay attention to these small nuances that I pay attention to, and keep it in mind that global liquidity is heavily correlated to what happens to the S&P 500 as well as Bitcoin. Talking about Bitcoin, yeah, I have a Coinbase account, so I'm DCAing, by the way, first time in 6 years. I bought Bitcoin 6 years ago. It was maybe 3% of my net asset value. Today, because it's gone up so much, that it's up to maybe 12%. I am not a trader of Bitcoin. I don't want to trade Bitcoin. I trade the surrogates or the proxies of Bitcoin, such as MicroStrategy and the 2x ETFs. I have always said that Bitcoin is to be bought and held, right? So now I started DCAing again every Monday. I'm putting in $100 through Coinbase into Bitcoin, whatever the price is at. So Monday, if the price is 108, I'm going to buy more at 108. That's it. I think last week I bought it as low as 92. So whatever Monday morning at 5:30 I wake up, have a cup of coffee, click, $100 worth goes into Coinbase. And by Coinbase, you know how when you guys watching some infomercials, they go, no credit, no problem, and all that stuff, right? They're selling the used cars to you. Well, there is something new happening now. If you happen to have Bitcoin, you guys can now get loans against your Bitcoin through Coinbase without a credit check. Now, I do believe that MicroStrategy is going to be a bank one day, without a question in my mind, right? They have they have bought 450,000 Bitcoin so far. I think there's going to be so many products that are going to come out over the next few years that are based on Bitcoin that we're going to, our heads are going to spin. But Coinbase has taken the lead, and Coinbase is saying that we're offering loans against your Bitcoin. Should you get one? Oh, okay. How does borrowing against Bitcoin work on Coinbase? While using the service, Coinbase's US clients only, except those who live in New York State, can pledge their Bitcoin to borrow up to $100,000 in USDC, which is US dollar currency, using the company's app. Unlike a regular loan from a financial services company, where you have to go through credit check, your income, you have to give them a whole bunch of documents, right? Your W-2s and all these things. Your ability to borrow in this case is linked to how much Bitcoin you have to offer as collateral instead of your credit score or credit worthiness. There's going to be so many products. I take my word for it, but then come back in a couple of years if I'm still around, say, oh, that guy said that, by the way. Your interest rate will depend on the going market rate, okay? They're probably going to put maybe 100 basis points or maybe 150 basis points on something, just like margin rates at brokerage houses, right? And will be visible to you when you're making the loan transaction. There are no required due dates or fixed monthly payments, and you can choose to repay the loan entirely or partially without any prepayment penalty, right? So this, I think, is pretty revolutionary to me, right? Some of you may say this is like going to a pawn shop. That's what I'm thinking. That's kind of the analogy I thought when I was getting ready for the show. I go, yeah, you go put up your gold and then they give you 50% of your gold. Well, in this case, I haven't looked into it, but there's something called LTV, loan to value, right? What percentage is that going to be at? So if you have, let's say, $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, how much of that 100,000 will you be able to borrow? I'm sure it's not going to be dollar for dollar without a question. Is it 50%? Is it 60%? Because as we know, Bitcoin is very volatile. Well, the volatility is subsiding on Bitcoin pretty well. We're moving maybe 10, 12% up or down now on the corrections anyway. But please go pay attention to that M2 global money supply. But I don't know what the LTV is going to be on these loans. The fact that it doesn't have a duration, the fact that you don't have to make any payments and you can pay it all at once or you can pay it partially. These are amazing, amazing things, right? So let's say you're holding Bitcoin and you want to buy a house. You don't have available cash. You go borrow some money and then you buy a house with that cash. I don't know. Look, I think there's going to be so many new products offered. I'm pretty sure there's going to be Bitcoin backed commercial loans. It's going to be a fascinating few years, and all because Michael Saylor, he figured out the infinite money glitch. A lot of people think he's crazy. He's a gambler. I think he's a genius. And Coinbase started the move. I bet you guys anything within a month or so, Robinhood is going to come around, and all these other exchanges who are holding your Bitcoin as a custodian are going to offer you these products, and there's going to be many, many more different products that are coming up. And I think it's wonderful. I don't see anything bad with it. Now, I wouldn't do this with the shit coins, right? I wouldn't do it like altcoins. But Bitcoin, yeah, definitely. I think there's going to be so much product, and I think Michael Saylor through MicroStrategy is going to lead this. MicroStrategy today is a software company. I'm pretty sure it's going to look very different in a few years, very different. And they're going to offer a lot of different products backed by Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin, 105,000. What is happening? I mean, I'm going to show you guys my positions in a minute. Through the surrogate of Bitcoin or MicroStrategy, which is the 2x ETFs that I own, which I had sold cash secured puts on, I got assigned. I'm doing the weekly options, by the way. So, but you guys will see. I'll explain that to you. And today I'm going to get all called away because I had sold calls that are expiring today. But what's happening to Bitcoin? Why is it getting this pump, right? I mean, don't we all kind of wonder what's happening? Because it was not, I don't know, a few days ago, it was down to 92,000. Actually, I think it got down to maybe broke 90,000. And now we're at 105. As of today, I think, as of the last time I checked, was what's happening. Is this the Trump pump? Is this what's happening? Is this the last hooray? Because a lot of journalists now are going to write about it. They're going like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin, it's going to crash now. I'm like, I don't know. So there's a lot of expectations, though, on the Trump administration regarding Bitcoin, right? Even Michael Saylor had a meeting with him, and is it going to be a treasury asset? Is Bitcoin is going to be a treasury asset? I don't know. Well, at the moment, yesterday I put out a video that Uncle Sam is selling Bitcoin. They have 70,000 Bitcoin worth $6.5 billion, which they got from the Silk Road bad characters, let's say. And hopefully the Biden administration did not sell those, because it seems like they sold it because the pressure is off. And this is what exactly happened, by the way, when Germany had 50,000 Bitcoin and they sold it right about 55,000. And when they were all done selling, what happened to Bitcoin? It took the next leg up, right? And to the 100,000 level. And now we've been going sideways for about a month and a half, between 90 and 103, 105. I hope the Biden administration did not sell the Bitcoin, because I think they should keep that Bitcoin and they should add to it. Okay. And is this the Trump pump, though? Once he's in office, because a lot of expectations, by the way, that the first day he's going to issue an executive order. First of all, this is the most positive crypto government that could be. There's no question about that. But does that mean action is going to speak louder than words? Does that mean they're going to create this treasury asset? I mean, I don't know. But I think this is the Trump pump of Bitcoin going into the inauguration, because after the inauguration, everything will settle down. Everything will go, okay, now we got to act. We got to do some stuff. What if the expectations are so high that the first day he's in office, there is no executive order to create a Bitcoin treasury asset? I don't know what will happen to Bitcoin. It's going to go to 90,000. Great. Is it going to go to 50,000? I don't know. That's why I do not trade Bitcoin. I do not recommend trading Bitcoin. You can trade anything else you want. You can trade MicroStrategy. You can MSTU, MSTZ, MSTX. Or IBIT, BITX. I mean, the symbols are endless, right? Just don't trade Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin. If you leave it on Coinbase, I'm sure it's okay. But what I do is I buy it. If it gets to a certain amount, I'll take it out, put it in my cold wallet. That's it. That's all you do with Bitcoin. You do not buy it. I just bought something or sold something, it sounds like in the background, but I will be going to that. So, yeah. Are we getting the Trump pump? I don't know, I created this little slide for you all for 30 seconds. Trump's plan for a strategic Bitcoin reserve could trigger a crypto arms race and reshape the global economic order. I think if US does it, every other country on the globe is going to jump on the bandwagon. We do know 2 countries are already doing it publicly. One is El Salvador, doing great with their Bitcoin. In fact, they keep buying Bitcoin. And the other one that's benefiting the most, its people the most, is Bhutan, a country of 800,000 people in Asia. They have bought more Bitcoin than El Salvador, actually. Go check this out. It's a fascinating story. And if US does it, you don't think Saudis are going to do it? You don't think the Germans are going to do it? You don't think, well, Chinese are not going to do it, but you don't think Russians are going to do it? Absolutely. And Bitcoin, the targets on Bitcoin are ridiculous, right? 10 million, 5 million, 1 million, whatever it is. That's how we're going to get there, because it's a finite asset. We can't make more of this thing, right? We can't make more of it. So if US government gets behind this, every other government, small, large, medium, is going to do it. In fact, if they can figure out how to print and buy Bitcoin, which most countries cannot print like we do, free-nilly. So we'll see. This is going to be a fascinating time. I'm glad I'm alive. I'm glad I'm living at these times that all these, all these things can be taught to an old dog like me. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this period. All right, so let's go to the chat. Edward, good morning, member. Stoic Outdoors, good morning, Sergio. Come over from TJ's channel. Yeah, so go. There's a wonderful gentleman, TJ the Wheel, I think is his YouTube channel. Please go check it out. He does a lot of cash secured puts and covered call strategies. It's called the Wheel strategy. He was gracious enough to allow me to go on one of his live streams, and I was a guest for like 10-15 minutes, and then we decided, or he had offered it anyway to him. He's going to come on my channel. We're going to do an interview. I'm going to put him on as well. So yeah, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Luis, good morning. Techie B, good morning. Macro Baked, what's up, sir? Happy Friday. Let's get these dollars. Macro Baked. Sergio, what platform are you? Okay, good question. I have a Robinhood account, but I was with Schwab for 15 years, and now Schwab through TD ended up buying their platform is called Thinkorswim. I don't like it as much as Schwab, but I'm okay with it. And, I'm using Thinkorswim on my PC. Yes, definitely. Government is a huge employer, as we know. Yes. Yes. Cheeky Chops, Power Hour, surging with Sergio. Damn right, Cheeky Chops. There's a good comment right there. Government is needed, but it needs to be smaller. I could not agree with you more. Hey, shout out to William from from Quant Data. Please, seriously, if you guys don't know anything about options, I highly suggest you educate yourself. First of all, learn the Greeks, learn how they affect each other and whatever not. Quant Data, William runs the free Discord server or Quant Data. Okay, it's free. I am there. Once in a while, I'm foolish enough to get on the stage with him and give some advice. I don't know what they see in me, but then William, great job at Quant Data. It's free, people. Go to the server, just be as a guest. Log on on your Discord, search Quant Data, go listen. These people are amazing traders. And by the way, Quant Data does not care about charts whatsoever. In fact, he calls it chopsticks. I laugh at it. I still use charts, but I'm definitely paying attention to what they're doing. What they're doing is they're analyzing data, live data of all the option activity that's going on. They're analyzing deltas, gammas, the VANA, all the Greeks, MVC, which is most valuable contract, dark pool levels, and they're spitting out trades for you. Not them directly, but you have to learn how to use it and apply that. Just do me a favor, go to their server. Once in a while, I'm there just as a guest. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to chat. Just listen to what the people on stage are saying. There are some amazing traders there. So there you go. Mr. International, welcome. Hi, what's up? What are your number 3 conviction stocks. You mean the 3 stocks that I like the most at the moment? I'll get to that when I'm doing my charts. When I go through my watch list. Last year, Mr. International, 2 stocks that I held for 1 year and 5 months, which I sold towards the 4th quarter of last year. I both had 5x and 6x on those. One was Kava and the other one was Carvana. And if you're from TJ's group, Kava and Carvana both have very, very, very juicy premiums to sell cash secured puts on, specifically Carvana. But for this year, I'm actually kind of neutral this year. I'm doing more trading this year, more individual trading, trying to hit singles, because I think with what I talked about, with the liquidity getting squeezed a little bit, that's why we're having trouble up here. We haven't made an all-time high yet. And I'm really being pretty cautious, actually, for this year. Berkshire Hathaway, yeah. Warren says everything is over. Yeah, but he's a value investor, and he missed Nvidia. I mean, look, Warren is a different type of breed, different cat. But he's a value investor. There is actually a lot of value in small caps now. It's like Russell 2000, but Warren is not known to invest in those, because with 300 billion, if you go in there, it's like elephant in a china closet. He will break everything. Yeah, but that's what he's saying. That's what his indicator is saying. He's following his indicator. He's up to 300 billion in cash. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The Mag 7, no, Warren hasn't touched that. Yeah, Mag 7 is leading everything. Those are the generals in the front lines. Okay, just some stocks, push, hold, S&P 500 up. Yes, that's 50 stocks basically out of the 500. Well, this is a good comment. So people are looking where not to lose value. Well, you are losing value if you're holding on to your cash, okay? Your dollars are losing value every single year by about 6 or 7%. Don't buy what the government's telling you. They're gaslighting the shit out of the American people. That's another reason I created this channel, because freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want, right? First Amendment. Take advantage of it. Be on YouTube. I mean, most of you know from another channel on YouTube, but my point is, government's been saying inflation is 2%. My ass, inflation is not 2%. What are you guys talking about? The $100 bill that you have 10 years ago or 5 years ago in your hand is the exact same $100 bill. Nominally, it looks like the same $100 bill. Does it do the same amount of work for you? No. So forget what the government's saying. That's gaslighting to the max. Inflation is running 6 or 7%. That $100 you're holding in 12, 13 years is worth 0. That's why you have to protect yourself with what? Hard assets. That's why real estate is an all-time high. Gold is an all-time high. Bitcoin is an all-time high. Stock market is an all-time high. If you're not using that money, if you're sitting on it, put it under your mattress, might as well light it on fire and have a cigar with it. Yeah. That is a good comment. Macrobake. Holy shit, you're on, bro. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen for a while. Although it's kind of, the BRICS are kind of looking into it, and they go like, yeah, maybe we don't want to deal with currency because we're sanctioning the shit out of these governments, bro. Right? And they go like, well, we need some other way. Like they created something similar to SWIFT for themselves. But which currency is going to be the reserve currency? I completely agree. We're completely effed if that goes away, but it's not going to go away. We hold too much power with just to their heads. But which currency is going to replace it? The Chinese yuan, Japanese yen, the euro? No, not going to happen. None whatsoever. Actually, go look at my. I'm not bearish at all. I just trade what's given to me. I just trade what's in front of me. Not at all. I'm not bearish at all. Actually, go check out my 2025 prediction video. I think S&P 500 is going to stocks in the S&P 500. The estimates are about 260 to 270 a share. You put a 23 multiple. I think we're going to probably get close to 6,700. I'm not bearish whatsoever. I mean, I'm bearish on individual stocks. There are some stocks that I short and buy and whatever, but on the general market, no, I'm not bearish until I see the signs of being bearish. but I do see the signs. The signs are there. And does that mean I'm going to anticipate a market going down? No, not at all. Do I have it? Look at my account. I'm going to show you my account in a minute. Do I have any puts? No. Have I bought puts and made shit ton of money last year when the crack happened? Yeah. But I'm a trader. Look, I'm a swing trader. I don't day trade. I'm not bearish whatsoever. If I came off that way, sorry. No, not bearish at all. Now, on this one, we may have to disagree. Warren Buffett is not bearish. Warren Buffett is cautious. There's a big difference between being bearish and cautious. All right, welcome, Mr. Premium. Good day. Yes, TJ's channel is wonderful. I'm glad you're here. I hope, we're a little different. But one thing we're going to do the same. We have done the same. I didn't even know about TJ, by the way. TJ, I met him on X. I saw one of his tweets, and I go, like, this guy looks interesting. What attracted me to DJ is that his full transparency, right? He puts it the way it is. You have to do what he's doing, but he posts his account like I do. I've been doing for the last 5 months on this channel. Full transparency. I got nothing to hide. And that's what attracted me to him. And then I started, watching a few of his videos. And then I jumped one of his lives the other day. And, welcome. We're a little different. I do different things. He does different things, but we're both successful at what we're doing. Welcome to the channel. And let's see. Okay, and one of my members says, what is the point of printing your own currency and buy BTC? Well, there is a point to that. Wouldn't there? Well, no, it would become more inflation if you print the currency and doing what they're doing now, which is pump it into the economy to get the GDP going, right? But our return on GDP on borrowed money now is 47 cents on the dollar. We're literally losing 53 cents. So there's many different, because first of all, BTC, you're replacing an infinite asset or infinite currency with a finite asset. So the asset value goes up, and then it could save your ass, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'm not saying US is going to do that. I'm saying other countries may start doing that. Also, if BTC goes to 200K, wouldn't that also create fake money in the economy by people potentially cashing in? No, not at all. Like Michael Saylor has 450,000 BTC, which I'm sure is going to go to 1 million this year with the craziness that he's about to pull. Well, but that's creating wealth. The other one, printing money and pumping it into the system, is hurting wealth. Now, not hurting the top 1%, but it's hurting the 99%, Edward. You have to think of it that way, right? All the people who are holding hard assets are being helped by this pumping. Stocks, bonds, and believe me, 65% of the US does not hold stocks, and that 35% hold it in their 401ks and retirement plans. So, as we know, 95% of the assets in this country are owned by the 5%. We're talking average Americans here. I don't give a shit about Jeff Bezos. So there is many ways to look at this. Yeah, man, I have a lot more of those. Elephant in the China closet. Yeah, so if you have like running a hedge fund of 10 billion and you go buy like a small cap stock, I mean, what can happen? Well, this is good, right? Gold could be pegged again to the dollar and make the dollar a strong currency. Yeah, well, that's never going to happen. That was Nixon let that go. Gold standard went away, and that's why our economy grew exceptionally well when the borrowing came in, because those days, all the way to maybe like 15 years ago, every dollar that we borrowed and or printed and pumped into the economy got 2 or 3 or 4x in GDP growth, right? Well, now we're not. That's when we need to stop, right? So, but those days, yeah, gold standard is never coming back, ever. If we go to gold standard, the GDP will shrink by half. Never going to happen. Correct. Is no currency that could take dollar. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Here's my XRP guru. Yeah, possibly. I agree. Chef sorry, butchering your name, Chef Lenful. Yield Max ETF, yeah. I mean, you're talking about the MicroStrategy one? Is that the one? MSTY? So give me a little more context. If you're talking about that one, yeah, amazing. Great returns, really. As long as MicroStrategy is going up, we're all good. Well, that depends on what Bitcoin is doing, obviously. Printing money benefits the top 1% because they're the ones that can borrow at 0 interest rates. That's why top 1% has gotten a lot richer than most of us here over the last, I don't know, since ZERP, since 2008. Look at the increase. And again, I'm not a socialist. I'm a capitalist. I was on Wall Street. Kudos to them. But top 1% can borrow at very low interest rates and buy hard assets. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. Yeah. Good morning, John. Yeah, I said MSTY. Yeah, MSTY. Yeah, I mean, as long as MicroStrategy is doing well, you're going to do well in MSTY. I mean, the returns on that have been phenomenal. Phenomenal. CLNY, I don't know. I'll check it out. But MSTI, the dividends on that, holy crap. They sell those options. And that's why MicroStrategy wanted to do, right? Michael Saylor wanted to create some volatility. And the premiums on that is absolutely mind-numbing, right? So, yeah, I do like MSTY. I'll check CONY. I'll take your word for it. All right, so let's go to my position screen. And hope you all can see that. Okay. I don't know what the market is doing, honestly, but I don't care. So I bought some new stuff today. I sold some stuff today. Well, today, what I know I'm going to sell is my 4,500 shares of MSTU that I was assigned at 11.5 less the premium. I sold 11.5 and 11 calls, cover calls, weekly calls. They're going to be taken away. Stock is 1308. So sometimes, actually, guys, give me 1 second. I know last week I did this and then we got evacuated for the fires. It's not the same this time. So just wait 1 second. I'll be right back. But you guys enjoyed the screen. Okay, I'm back. So I started buying what's new today. So I'm going to post all these to the community page by 2 p.m. latest today. I started buying small cap called RB Robotics, ARB Robotics. I'm up to 3,500 shares. I'll probably buy about 5,000 shares of this. I'm buying every 10 cents. They had a little pressure on it today. They just put out 9 million shares at 320, so I'm getting a discount on that. I do like the group. I think it's in the right group. And check again. None of this is financial or trading advice, but full transparency, I will post these on my community page. I'm going to get assigned actually MSTZ, which is a 2x ETF of the bearish ETF actually. But then I'm going to get assigned at 15. However, I had sold calls and puts totaling 175 and 50 cents, 225, and stock is 1277, 1280, let's say. So I'm break even on that, but I'm going to get assigned 1,000 shares of that today. I started buying some AST Mobile, AST Space Mobile calls. I have a straddle on that. I bought, at the moment, I'm long 40 of the February 21 expiration 25 strike calls with a cost of 91 cents. They're about 80 cents. And I bought also February expiration 20 puts because I think stock is at the verge of having a massive move down or up. And that's why you put it on a straddle. I am trying to buy some debit vertical spreads on KULR. And some of you are going to say, well, Serge, why is Bitcoin up and why isn't KULR up? KULR is, by the way, it's called Cooler Tech. They do some cooling, actually, technology for nuclear reactors and chips and things like that for the Army as well. But what they did is they started buying Bitcoin, just like MicroStrategy at a much smaller level, obviously. So you're going to say, well, why is Bitcoin going up and KULR is not going up? But we'll find out. So I'm trying to buy the April 2.5, 7.5 vertical call spread. I bought 40 so far. I'm lined up to buy 100 of these at 50 cents or below. I will talk about that on my members live because some members were asking me, like, how does that work? So you buy the 2.5 call option, you sell the 7.5 against it to take care of a little bit of time decay. When I'm buying long-term, long-dated options, I have to do that to figure out my time decay. I started buying some options on Planet Labs. I'm trying to buy 100 of those, but market's not participating, but we'll see. Those are also April 17th, $5 calls. Stock is $3.90. I'm trying to buy them at 40, 35, 40 cents. And last but not least, I was assigned a week ago, 8 days ago, MSTU. MSTU is the 2x bullish ETF. I had sold cash secured puts on that, and I got assigned. Great. Then I sold the 11.5 and 11 calls, cover calls, 60 cents and 50 cents. While stock is at 13, I'm going to be called away. This is the problem, by the way, with doing too many cover calls. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't leave $1.50 or, I don't know, 4,500 shares, about $6,000, $7,000 on the table. So, but I'm okay with it. They'll take it away. The MSTU, MSTX, MSTZ, none of these should be held too long because there's a slippage in these. As I have explained this. If you have questions, please, put it in the chat. These 2x ETFs are daily return ETFs. They're not to be bought and held forever. Although, if you look at, so they move off of MSTR, MicroStrategy, and obviously MicroStrategy moves off of Bitcoin. So goodbye to MSTU. I'm going to be proud owner of 1,000 shares of MSTZ on Monday. I will add to the cash secured puts on those. I'll probably sell some 12s. I want to buy some more. Personally speaking, this is my outlook on Bitcoin. I think we're going to go sideways, but then I put out a video about my prediction on Bitcoin for 2025. I think we're going to go sideways between probably 90 and 110-ish range, and then may frustrate the crap out of everybody. I'm pretty sure after the inauguration, there'll be a pullback. So that's why I'm willing to get assigned a couple thousand shares of MSTZ, which is the bearish ETF. So that's where we are now. I'm going to go to my watch list. If you do have questions, please, please, please put them in the chat. Let's take a look at MSTY, like TJ's crowd asked. Yeah, I mean, MSTY has been great from what I hear. I don't own it. I rather create my own return with options. But if you do have it and create options, a little bit of an option strategy with that, I think you guys, you will do well. And the other one was CONY, right? Yeah, I don't know much about CONY, so I will look into it if you need an answer real quick. But let's look at this is the S&P 500. We're retesting close to 598, 600 on the index. I don't draw too many charts. I mean, I don't draw too many lines on my charts. Pretty basic, really. I have a 20 EMA, 50 EMA, 200 EMA. I have a channel that's been there forever, held true, came close to it actually a couple days ago to retest. 200 EMA is 558, not even close. Intermediate, uptrend is at about 480. So we have far to go, but then I think we're bottoming out here. We'll probably make a new high. Go to the top of the channel, which is about 640, 630. I'm not bearish at all, unlike that gentleman said. This is the triple Qs. Triple Qs, it looks like a consolidation pattern, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Triple Qs are doing a little bit better than the SPY, but nothing major here. Here's one of the generals that got shot yesterday. Look at Apple's chart, right? It topped at 260. We're at 230, 228, 229. So that's 30 points. That's 15%, while the market's only down 2%. So it's underperforming for a first time for a long time. Under his 20 EMA, under his 50 EMA, 260 to 228 is pretty large, right? So last line of defense, well, I'm not going to say last, but decent support at 200 EMA at 221, which happens to coincide with this right here, with these lows. So this is what I mean. When the generals start getting shot, you got to be careful. Because when Apple is getting shot, do you think the small cap has a chance? No. So I'll put a few charts and what I'm watching this year. Going with the AI phase. I'm a buyer of AI, about $30 a share ish. This is ARBE, the one that I started buying today. Stock was like a $2 number, went up to $5 because they got in bed with Nvidia, and they just diluted. Offered about 9 million shares, raised 30 million, so that dilution is over, and they diluted at 320 a share. It's 280. I started buying at 321. Every 10 cents down, I'll probably buy 5,000 shares of this at some point. And look at the difference between Amazon and Apple, right? Amazon consolidating just like the triple Q, about to make a new high, and here's Apple. It looks like dog shit. Sorry, Apple fans. I'll just call it the way I see it. I'm very, very closely paying attention to one of my big winners last year was Alibaba. When everybody hated it, I liked it in the mid 70s, chucked it in the 105 range. I think this Trump tariff thing is overblown. I am very closely watching Baba, okay, Alibaba, and actually 4 or 5 of the Chinese stocks, JDSU, Baidu. So those are the main names I'm watching. I will be a buyer of Baba. I mean, if we're just going to go sideways, and I think the tariff thing is overblown. I think it's a lot of saber rattling. These are like coiled springs. I think if Trump agrees to, or the Chinese agree to some sort of deal with him, even publicly, let's say, I think these are coil springs to be looked at. One of my favorites, actually, I took a page out of TJ's book. I own Kava at 33. I sold it in the 145 range after a year and 5 months of holding. Then it got up to 172. I just actually, in my long-term, I have different accounts. I have a trading account, which I'm sharing with you now. I have a long-term buy and hold account. I had that one at Kava in that account, and right on top of the 200 EMA, I sold some cash secured puts for next month. 110 puts at 6.5. I want to own it again. If you are selling cash secured puts, make sure it's a stock that you want to own for a while. Don't do it with stuff you don't want to own. Don't do it with stuff that's on a downtrend, like this one, for example. Okay, this is Celsius, $100 down to 27. If you sold cash secured puts on this, you gotta sign. Selling cover calls is not going to, do anything for you. My opinion again. I have 2 stocks in my long-term portfolio at the moment. One is ELF. about half position at the moment. I bought it in about 122 range, about 130. I'm willing to hold, and the other one is Unity Software. These two stocks are in my long-term portfolio, but I want Kava. I want to get assigned and own Kava again in the worst shape or form. Financials are doing well. Goldman Sachs, all the earnings came out. It's just consolidated and just taking the next leg up. That gap day is that. I mean, this is an uptrend. These are the types of stocks you guys need to be doing cash secured puts on. Hopefully you get assigned, maybe hold off on selling the calls against it and just let it ride, man. These are wonderful, wonderful uptrends, and you're dealing with amazing companies. Please, I don't want to put up any junk stuff like quantum computing stocks. We know what they did. This is JD.com. Gapping up today. This is another one I'm watching. These look beautiful, beautiful patterns to me. They look like nice pennants. And Baba, JD, Baidu. These are the three names from China I'm watching. So, again, none of it financial or trading advice. JP Morgan, another new high today, right? Stocks go sideways probably about 3/4 of the year, and then when they take off, you got to be there. Yeah. So let's see. Microsoft is probably one of the worst acting Mag 7s. MSTR, of course. What am I saying? So I've done a lot of videos on MSTR. Please study it. Please study something called MNAV, a multiple to net asset value. I've done multiple videos about that. Please be careful about that. So Bitcoin was 100,000. MicroStrategy got up as high as 543 with an MNAV of 3.5. Wall Street figured it out. I had figured it out. The best trade then was short MicroStrategy by Bitcoin physically itself, and that's what happened. And look where we are. We're at 1.7 MNAV now because they keep buying Bitcoin. They're doing ATM sales, at the market stock sales, diluting, but immediately buying Bitcoin with it. So in their treasury, they have 450,000 Bitcoin times 105,000, let's say. That's about 47 billion. MicroStrategy has 245 million shares outstandings times $400. Let's say that's 100 billion. Why is MicroStrategy deserving of a 100% premium over their Bitcoin holdings? Because the business they own is garbage. Okay, the software anyway. So let's put an enterprise value of 5 billion. Okay, we're at 1.9, actually almost 2 MNAV now. Getting a little rich for my blood. But if Bitcoin goes to 200, right, 200K, then MicroStrategy should be probably $600 a share. But it got a little overheated at 3.5 MNAV. So study the MNAV. MNAV is what you trade MicroStrategy off of. Here's a stock I'm watching really closely now. Earnings are coming out on Micron. Make or break time on that one. A lot of people are saying, isn't AMD cheap? I don't know. It looks like shit to me. I mean, I don't know. It's in a downtrend. I don't see anything in AMD. So for me, downtrends, uptrends are important, right? It's in a short-term downtrend, long-term probably neutral. I don't see an urgency. I mean, if you're going to do cash secured puts or whatever, whatever, knock yourselves out if you want to own it. NVIDIA consolidating, going sideways, really hasn't made a new high for about 2 months now. Actually, no, going back to October 14th. That was the last high. Just going sideways. That's what stocks do, man. Stocks go sideways most of the time. And when the earnings catch up, then they take the next leg up. A lot of people are interested in Palantir. It got way ahead of itself at $85. It's probably going to go sideways, just like NVIDIA is, just like a lot of stocks that consolidate. Digest the gains, earnings will catch up, and then, take the next leg up if there's a next leg. One of my favorites was PayPal, but it's getting a little ahead of itself at the moment for me. Nice chart, nice uptrend, nothing wrong with it at all. Reddit, amazing chart. You guys should take a look at it. Let's see. What else? If you have any questions on charts, just put it up. I'll give you my opinion. Again, no trading or financial advice. SoFi has done well. I'm not going to put that up at the moment. I did that. TLT. Okay, let's talk a little bit about TLT. TLT is the inverse bond ETF. So if TLT is going up, that means actual interest rates are going down. If TLT is going down, like it has been, massive downtrend from 101 down to 84. So while the Fed was cutting rates, the actual bond market is raising rates. Why? Because they don't believe any of the hocus pocus Fed is trying to sell them. And but last couple of days we had a little counter trend rally. Is this the bottom? We'll see. MACD is turning up. That's a positive one. Oh, like I said, I don't put too many things on my charts. There's no lines, clean, pretty much naked. 20 EMA, 50 EMA, 200 EMA, Bollinger Band, pretty much that's it. Volume and MACD, just higher highs, higher lows. Just got to watch charts, man. Charts do not tell you what's going to happen in the future, but charts do tell you what happened in the past. And patterns somehow, some way repeat themselves. So Tesla, everybody's favorite. So TLT may have bottomed, but we'll see. I will probably do a trade on TLT, probably do some cash secured puts at the 85 level and see what happens. Tesla, pull back to almost to the nose to 50 EMA, right? It looks like a consolidation pattern. It looks just like any other one, like the Goldman Sachs and JPMs, not the same group, obviously, but higher highs, higher lows. Elon put all his bags in the Trump basket, and sure enough, it worked out for him. He's worth $420 billion. Yeah, that's about it for now. So let me go to the chat. Let's see if you guys have any questions. I'm going to post all my positions on the community page. Hood. Okay, let's take a look at Hood. Okie dokie. Hold on a second. Let's see where we are. Sergio, your opinion, Yield Max ETF, I gave you that. John, good morning. Okay, Coney, I don't know MSTY. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I'm not involved with it. I'm involved with MSTU and MSTZ and MSTR and all that stuff. Okay. It says I got CSPs on MSTU that expired today, 820s and 10s. Of course, they're going to expire worthless. Stock is 13. They probably were down to nothing anyway. 820s. $8 strike price, you mean? A little more context. 10s, definitely. Going to expire worthless. On MSTU, right? Okay, yeah, they're going to expire worthless. Stock is 13. One of my members says, can you define slippage? Okay, let's do it. So MSTU, let's take MSTU, which is the 2X ETF of MSTR. MSTR, MicroStrategy, goes from, let's just make round numbers, $10 to $11. Okay, that goes up 10%. Clear? MSTU is supposed to go up 2X of what MicroStrategy goes up or down. So MSTU is going to go up 20% because MicroStrategy went up 10%, correct? Cool. Let's look at it price-wise. So MicroStrategy goes from 10 to 11. MSTU goes from 10 to 12. Got it? Next day, MicroStrategy goes down 10%. The same 10% it went up the day before. Okay? MSTU is going to go down 20%. What's 20% of 12? It's more than 2. It's $2.40. Well, you bought it at 10, went up 20%, went down 20%, now you're at 960. That's slippage. That's what happens. Plus, a lot of these companies, the 2X ETF boys, trade a lot of swaps, a lot of options, very high premium for those. There's definitely slippage there. They have to keep rolling those. So this is not for, something that you guys need to really understand what you're doing when you get involved in these 2x ETFs. Does BITX have slippage? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. IBIT does not have. IBIT has slippage in the form of management fee. I think it's very low, very, very low. It's like 0.2% or something, very, very low. Okay, BITX definitely does have slippage fee because they're dealing with options, just like when we buy and sell options. There's decay. They're dealing with swaps. There are different versions of options. Absolutely, it's a daily reset. That's why they say it, right? It's a daily reset. It's not a trading thing, buy and hold thing. None of these are. But what you can do is you can get rid of the slippage by options because it has options, right? You can cut down some of your slippage with options. Hood. Okay, let's take a look. Robinhood is doing great. I think it's making all-time high today. Well, the market's making all-time high, and when the Bitcoin is making all-time high, right? Why wouldn't Robinhood do that? BITO, is that the 2x ETF of something? Slippage is what screwed me on MST. Well, Bitcoin goes to 200,000, maybe. Why? What are you talking about? Look at it. If MicroStrategy goes up another $100, MSTU will be 25. Easy. I mean, BITO and Hood. Let's take a look. Okay. BITO. Hood, I know, is making a new high. Yeah, there you go. It consolidated, right? And it had a little pullback in the market. Didn't really pay attention. I mean, look at that, man. How beautiful is that? I mean, literally kissed it, touched the 50 EMA at 35. We're at 48. That's like a couple of weeks ago. New high. MACD turned up again. Higher highs, higher lows. I mean, looks good to me, right? Support now at 42, 43. Classic uptrend. Has a little hiccups here and there. This probably was the Japanese yen carry trade thing. This was last week's, a couple of weeks ago when Fed cut the rates, the market went to hell. That was that probably. I mean, what is there to say? It's beautiful. BITO. ProShares Bitcoin ETF. Okay, what is the ETF for? Is this some sort of... Oh, Bitcoin ETF. Okay, BITO. I follow IBIT, which is the BlackRock one. That's for dollar. Let's see, BITO. Yeah, BITO seems like the same thing, right? Dollar for dollar. IBIT is the largest one. And look at the management fees on these. I mean, the lowest, buy the ones, or if you're going to trade it, trade the ones with the lowest management fee. IBIT is very low management fee, so you're not going to endure too much slippage. And it has options as well, so you can do some stuff with that. If there's no more questions, I'm going to say goodbye to you, my lovely crowd. All right. Yeah, there you go. Cool. What is good? What is good? Yeah, I mean, look, there's many ways to skin a cat, right? If you really are crazy like me, you go to the 2x ETFs of MicroStrategy. This is ridiculous premiums in there. It's just, I mean, if you know what you're doing, that's what it is. If you're a little bit less excitement, maybe you should go do BITX or something, or BITO. Yeah, there is slippage on all these ETFs, man. But just if you're gonna buy something, go with the one that's got the least amount. All right. Any other questions? Anything else? Much love to you all. Have a great weekend. I will post my positions by 2 p.m. today. Yay or nay, we make it or we die with it. Doesn't make any difference. Always pay attention to there's something called scoreboard in our world. What is our scoreboard? Account equity. That does not lie. You could have bundles of positions in there. I have like 10 positions in there. Short, long, stocks, puts, calls, all of that. It's like a basket. Okay. One thing that I pay the most attention to is equity, because all are getting mark to market second by second, right? Okay. So if I start with $1 at the start of the month, January 1, and January 31 comes and I have 90 cents, I may have taken some massive losses and massive gains, but I have 90 cents. When the dust has cleared, I'm down 10%. Period. No ifs and buts about it. So scoreboard does not lie, especially if you're dealing with an account that you don't add money to or take money out of, which is what I do. I put the money in. I don't need to live with it. I trade it. If it's $1 more than the year before, great. I made money at the end of the year, right? Because all the unrealized gains, realized gains, losses, unrealized losses are meaningless. It's an account equity, because this second, I could decide to liquidate this account, close the shorts, close the longs, close everything out. That's going to be your equity. Okay? That's how much money you're taking home. So I trade equity. I could not care less if one position made me this much and lost me this much or this or that. I'm trading equity. My eyes glued on equity. If I'm the right direction and I'm doing the right strategies, the equity should increase gradually over the year, or there will be months that I will go up 30%, and then there'll be months that I'll lose 10%, 15%, but that's when risk management, money management comes into play, okay? So just watch your equity, man. If your equity is going up and you're not putting new money in, fooling yourself, saying, oh, look, I made more money. I'm like, you didn't. You just added money. Your trading account should not be added to or taken out of, or money should not be added to or taken out of. Now, you want to increase your size, yeah, you'll add some money, but it's easy accounting, right? It's super easy that way. So, yeah, man. Okay. You're welcome. Jude. See you, Palantir to the moon 100 soon. Weren't you the one that says Palantir topped? I think it was you, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? They went to 84. I think it was you. I have a photographic memory, bro. I think it was you. And then you did correct a little bit, and then, now you're bullish now? Maybe I got to be bearish now because you're bullish. Just kidding. But yeah, so that's it. Hope you all did well. Oh, at the end, if you decide to become a member, you get the shirt, you get the Telegram chat group, blah, blah, blah. But one other thing is, now, full transparency, at the end of each month, or the first Monday or first Friday, whichever comes first, each month I'm going to do an account value segment, meaning I started with this, no withdrawals, no deposits, this is where I'm at every month. So I did one the end of the year because the channel was new, and but you guys can go check it out. So this year I'm going to do it every month, a little update going along. So you guys will see where the account is going, what it's doing. Are we doing good? Are we doing bad? We'll see what happens the month is new. It's only 10 days, 10 trading days into it, or 11 trading days into it. So we'll see. We'll see where we go this year. I know volatility is going to pick up this year. We can tell already volatility is picking up. And that's my friend. I like volatility. It's my best friend. So I will see you guys on Monday. Please come back to Trading with Sergio, where I talk about the week. So I'm doing Monday and Friday live streams for the regular subscribers. So please subscribe. Please tell about the channel to your friends. Please put a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And Mondays, Trading with Sergio at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Fridays, Power Hour, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And members only live stream on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific, TBD. Sometimes time changes, but on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. See you all Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe.